Have you ever noticed that the people who seem to achieve the most aren't always the loudest, the flashiest, or the ones posting daily wins online? They're often the quiet ones, the ones who just keep showing up, building invisible layers of progress until, one day, the structure of their effort stands tall. Welcome to The Long Game. I'm Nathan, and before we begin, I just want to say thank you to every listener and member of this channel. I read every comment, even if I don't always get to reply right away. Between work and raising little ones, time can be tight, but your thoughts, encouragement, and insights truly keep this show alive. Today's episode is about the architecture of everyday success. The idea that our lives, like buildings, are shaped not by grand moments, but by the design of small, daily choices. When you look at a great building, say a cathedral or a skyscraper, you might admire its beauty, its symmetry, its strength. But what truly matters is the structure underneath, the foundation, the alignment, the details you don't see. Because no amount of decoration can save a building with a weak base. Success works the same way. Most people chase the facade, the visible parts, titles, recognition, wealth. But the real architecture of success happens behind the scenes in how you design your days, how you set your habits, and how you align your values with your actions. Think about your day like a blueprint. If you were an architect of your own success, would you approve the structure you're building right now? Are your routines reinforcing your foundation? Or are you stacking bricks on unstable ground, chasing too many things at once? Many people underestimate how structural daily success is. They think success is emotional, about motivation, passion, or willpower. But architects don't build based on emotion. They build based on design principles, things that hold under pressure. They know the wind will blow, the ground will shift, so they plan before the storm comes. Likewise, everyday success depends on design. It's about planning for friction, knowing mornings will be chaotic, knowing motivation will fade, and creating systems that help you move even when you don't feel like it. A strong life architecture includes three main layers: your foundation, the principles that guide you, your structure, the habits that hold your day together, and your finishes, the way you express your values in small, visible acts. The foundation is who you are when no one's watching. Do you value learning over winning? Growth over speed? Are you building on solid ground or on the fragile soil of approval and comparison? The structure is your routine, those simple things that seem boring but quietly make you unshakable. Waking up early, exercising, taking notes, reviewing your goals, showing up to do the work. Each habit is like a beam or column carrying invisible weight. And the finishes, they're what people see. Your words, your work, your character in public. They reflect what's underneath, and when the foundation and structure are right, the outer beauty takes care of itself. What's fascinating is that many of us want to decorate before we build. We focus on the visible wins, but forget to pour the concrete of consistency. We compare our facade to someone else's foundation and then wonder why our walls feel shaky. The architecture of everyday success is slow, but that's what makes it strong. Brick by brick, system by system, you become someone others can rely on, and, more importantly, someone you can rely on. In the next part, we'll explore how to design that daily structure, how to make your routines self-reinforcing, and how to think like an architect, not a gambler, when it comes to building a life that lasts. Because success isn't a lucky strike, it's an engineered outcome. This is The Long Game, and I'm Nathan. Thank you for listening, and for being the kind of person who shows up not just to dream big, but to build well. If you think about it, every person who's truly successful, not just in wealth, but in peace, purpose, and stability, is an architect of their own days. They don't wake up hoping the day will be good. They design it to be meaningful. That's the difference between living by reaction and living by design. Most people spend their days reacting to messages, problems, moods, and noise. They build their life like someone stacking blocks randomly, hoping it'll somehow stand tall. But the great builders of their own success, they think in terms of structure, sequence, and long-term load. Let's break that down. Every strong building begins with a clear purpose. You don't design a cathedral and an airport the same way. Likewise, you can't build your life effectively if you don't know what kind of life you're building toward. If your goal is freedom, your design will look different from someone building for fame or comfort or contribution. So, the first step to daily success is defining the function of your life. Ask yourself, what's this structure for? Is it to give you time with family? To create work that matters? To grow into someone you're proud of? Once you know the function, you can shape the form. That means your days begin to align with your purpose. For example, if your purpose is growth, then struggle isn't a disruption. It's part of the blueprint. If your purpose is freedom, then discipline isn't restriction. It's the structure that lets you move safely. That's the paradox most people miss. Discipline builds freedom. Routine creates creativity. And simplicity reveals meaning. Architects know this intuitively. A clean design isn't boring. It's functional beauty. Your life can be the same way. Let's say you want to become a better investor, parent, or creator. Instead of waiting for inspiration, you design an environment that forces momentum. For example, you might decide to start each morning by reviewing one insight from a book, or journaling one paragraph about your day before checking your phone. That's like laying the first beam of your mental structure. It gives strength to everything built on top of it. You see, habits aren't random actions. They're architectural elements. Each one either strengthens or weakens your design. A strong morning routine is a reinforced pillar. An evening reflection is a stabilizing crossbeam. And your weekends, if spent wisely, become the maintenance time where you inspect your structure for cracks and fatigue. We often underestimate how fragile a life can be when it's built on impulsive habits. Skipping one workout doesn't ruin you, but skipping the pattern of showing up starts to shift your foundation. Neglecting reflection, avoiding discomfort, those things slowly eat at the concrete of self-trust. And that's what success truly rests on: self-trust. If you trust you'll show up again tomorrow, you stop needing external motivation. You stop needing people to cheer you on, because your structure stands even when no one's watching. That's why many high-performing people look calm on the outside. They're not unshaken because life's easy. They're unshaken because their architecture was built to sway, not break. They designed flexibility into their structure, like tall buildings that bend with the wind instead of resisting it. You can do the same. When you plan your day, think in terms of load-bearing priorities. Which habits carry the most weight? Which can you remove without collapse? For most people, 3 are enough. 1 for the body, 1 for the mind, and 1 for the heart. Maybe that's a morning walk, reading for 30 minutes, and having one genuine conversation each day. Simple, right? But simplicity scales beautifully, the way a minimalist design endures across centuries. Remember, architecture isn't about adding more. It's about removing what doesn't fit the structure. And that's where the magic of everyday success lies. It's not in doing everything, but in doing what matters most, consistently, cleanly, and quietly. The truth is, a well-designed day compounds. When your mornings are steady, your evenings become calm. When your actions match your values, your confidence deepens naturally. And when you start seeing progress in the invisible, in your patience, your focus, your peace, that's when you know your structure's working. In the next part, we'll talk about how to maintain that structure, how to renovate without tearing down the whole building, and how to handle those seasons when everything feels like it's cracking under pressure. Because success isn't about building once and stopping. It's about maintaining, refining, and reinforcing day after day, year after year. You're not just living, you're building, and every decision today is another brick in the masterpiece of your life. I'm Nathan, and you're listening to The Long Game. Thank you for building alongside me, one strong day at a time.
There's a reason why some buildings stand for centuries while others collapse within decades. It's not luck, it's maintenance. A great design doesn't matter if it's never cared for. And the same is true for our lives. No matter how solid your foundation, how smart your routines, if you stop maintaining them, cracks start to form quietly. Welcome back to The Long Game. I'm Nathan, and I'm truly grateful that you're here again, listening, reflecting, building alongside me. I see every comment, every thoughtful message you leave, even when I can't reply right away. Between work, projects, and raising little ones, please know that I read them all, and they remind me why this show exists, to help you design a life that grows stronger with time. In the last part, we talked about the design of everyday success, how habits and structure shape our results. Now let's talk about maintenance, how to sustain what we've built when life changes, when motivation fades, and when storms hit. Every structure, no matter how well designed, faces stress. In architecture, engineers call this load testing. The building is exposed to wind, weight, vibration to see if it holds. In life, our load tests come in the form of uncertainty, fatigue, loss, or doubt. And how we respond determines whether we merely survive or adapt and strengthen. Think of yourself as both the architect and the caretaker. You designed this structure, your habits, your mindset, your systems, but you also have to inspect them, to walk through the hallways of your own mind and ask, is this still serving me? Sometimes the design that worked last year isn't right for the season you're in now. A new job, a new baby, a health shift, these things change the forces on your structure. If you don't adjust the design, you'll feel the strain. That's not failure, that's feedback. Strong builders don't panic when cracks appear. They study them. They reinforce. They evolve the structure, not abandon it. Maintenance in the architecture of success means reflection. It means stepping back regularly to see where your energy leaks. Are you over-investing in things that don't support your foundation? Are you spending more time decorating your life than reinforcing it from within? Most people burn out not because they work too hard, but because they work without alignment. They chase goals that don't match their architecture. Imagine building a heavy marble dome on top of wooden beams. Beautiful, but destined to collapse. That's what happens when our ambitions grow faster than our systems. So the practice is simple, though not easy. Revisit your foundation often. Are your core principles still clear? Do your habits still support the person you want to become? And are your boundaries, the walls that protect your energy, still strong enough? Here's a thought I keep close. Success doesn't need constant expansion. It needs regular calibration. The most stable structures don't grow endlessly upward. They deepen their roots, strengthen their joints, and improve their balance. Likewise, your success doesn't come from doing more every year, but from doing better with what already matters. You might have seasons when growth slows, when your pace feels uncertain, when your plans need rebuilding. That's okay. Architecture takes time. And sometimes the wisest thing you can do is pause construction to assess the integrity of what's already there. In fact, that's how longevity is built. In both structures and lives, collapse rarely comes from one big hit. It comes from small, ignored stresses that build up over time. A missed rest day, a skipped reflection, a boundary crossed once, then twice, until it becomes normal. Each one is a hairline fracture, invisible at first, until suddenly the weight becomes too much. But the beauty is, unlike buildings, you can heal. You can rebuild with stronger materials. Wisdom, patience, forgiveness, awareness. Every time you reflect instead of react, every time you rest instead of rush, you're reinforcing your internal beams. And slowly, without even noticing, your life becomes more earthquake-proof, less shaken by criticism, less swayed by trends, less fragile when things don't go as planned. You know what's interesting? In Japan, some ancient wooden temples have survived earthquakes for over 1,000 years. Why? Because they're flexible. Their architects built them to move with the earth, not resist it. They understood that survival depends on balance, not rigidity. That's the essence of long-term success too. You don't have to be unbreakable. You have to be adaptable. And the only way to stay adaptable is to keep maintaining your design, to check your habits, your beliefs, your structure, and refine them as life evolves. At the end of the day, the architecture of everyday success isn't about perfection. It's about continuity. It's about showing up again tomorrow, checking the beams, patching the cracks, and remembering why you started building in the first place. You don't have to build something massive. You just have to build something that lasts. And if you're listening to this right now, you're already doing it because you're thinking long-term. You're choosing reflection over distraction. And that alone is what sets you apart. Thank you truly for being here, for caring enough to design your days with purpose. You're not waiting for success to happen. You're architecting it. Patiently, intentionally, one strong day at a time. This is the long game. I'm Nathan, and remember, the masterpiece you're building isn't out there somewhere. It's the structure you live in every single day.